You're watching Keyc Television, Channel 12, Mankato. It's 12 noon. This is News Circle 12's Noontime Edition with John Husak and all the day's news, sports, and information. And Julie Miller with up-to-the-minute weather and farm markets. And now News Circle 12's Noontime Edition.
Good afternoon. These stories top our news this Tuesday noontime. A busy day for filings in local city and county elections. Police Chief of Claremont shot to death. New threats against lives of American hostages. It's business as usual in the Persian Gulf. And in sports, Herbeck hot as Twins beat Brewers. Edberg basks in glory of Wimbledon win. And U.S. to host World Soccer Tournament. As for the weather, well, not what we've hoped for.
Well, not exactly, John. In fact, we are going to have what we've been experiencing all summer long, those hot, humid conditions with just a little bit of south breeze in the air for much of this week. But first, I want to take a look at what's been happening over the past 24 hours, because we saw the cool temperatures, probably all that we're going to see until about Friday. We saw overnight lows across the country that were in the 60s and 70s, except for out west, where they saw overnight lows in the Pacific Northwest in the 40 to 50 degree range. We also heavy showers continue to fall there, as they have been over the last couple of days. Now, for high temperatures today, much of the nation will see temperatures in the 90s and 80s. In fact, much of the nation will have record-breaking temps today. Out to the west of us, though, they'll stay in the 60 and 70 degree range as the rain continues there. Pacific Southwest, we'll probably see a few 90 to 100 degree temperatures, maybe even 110 degrees today. Otherwise, the New England states will see those 80 degree temps. Now, our precip map shows a band of showers that extend from the Pacific Northwest all the way across the Dakotas and northern Minnesota. We'll talk about that a little bit later, but it has been raining up in the northern sections of the state already today. Now, out in the desert Southwest, rain continues, and then along the Gulf coastal states, heavy rain showers reported at this hour. Over the next few days, our temperatures will be pretty much above normal over the upper half of the country, except for out west. Now, our overnight low last night was 70 degrees, and yesterday's high was 95. It was definitely the warm and uncomfortable day of the weekend of all 3 days. Currently, we have a temperature of 92 degrees with sunny skies and south winds at 5 to 15, with pressure at 30.1. and 67% humidity. In Iowa today, record-breaking temperatures probably for tomorrow and possibly today, but could see a temperature high of 100 degrees today and a low overnight tonight in the 70s, barely cooling off, and then going into tomorrow when they could have a record high of possibly 102 and 103 degrees. Northern Minnesota, 30% chance of showers this afternoon, tonight into tomorrow. High of 97 up there and a low of 70 overnight. Partly cloudy skies elsewhere. Now, that band of showers extends all the way from Fargo across to Alexandria into Duluth and north into Canada. Our part of the state, the forecast says a high of 100 degrees for today. Record-breaking temps possible in this part of the country, too. Sunny skies and south winds at 15 to 25. And then for tonight, temperatures in the mid-70s, so a bit warmer than last night with clear skies and south winds at 10 to 20. Then as we look ahead, John, yes, 101 and 102 degrees. Now, Tom Szymanski was in this morning, and he told us that those are the kind of temperatures that we have to be careful with, because they are more than uncomfortable. They're sometimes dangerous for those of us who have to be outside or in and out of the air conditioning. It's a real shock to the system. We also want to say that we do have a chance for rain on Friday night into Saturday morning. And it's a pretty good chance, which we'll probably for sure need after these warm temperatures.
Well, we'll take a closer look at that at midweek or later. Thank you, Julie. Filings open today for the city and county elections coming up in November. So far, 3 men have filed for Blue Earth County's 5th District Commissioner post, being vacated by 40-year board member Les Anderson, who's decided not to seek an 11th term. The 3 candidates filing today for Anderson's post were Adler Olson, mayor of Eagle Lake, who's been retired from business in Mankato for the past 4 years. Also seeking the 5th District Blue Earth County Board position is St. Clair area farmer Alvis Moore, who's lived in Blue Earth County all his life and has served on the county ASCS board and pork producers board. Jack Higgins of Mapleton also filed this morning. He's owner and operator of Higgins True Value Hardware in Mapleton and has served as president of the Mapleton Chamber of Commerce. And 2 men have filed for the District 3 County Board spot, being vacated by Bud Carlson. They're Lynn Barnes, Mankato property manager, and Al Schaller, who owns and operates Sharon's Crafts and Florals in North Mankato. In the Mankato City Council race, filing today for the 4th Ward post being vacated by Mary Lofi, was Ken Bundy, who with his wife Margot live at 221 South Broad Street and operate a beauty shop. This is Bundy's second attempt at a Mankato City Council seat. The Claremont, Minnesota Chief of Police was shot and killed early this morning while investigating a disturbance at a home near Claremont. Chief Greg Lang was killed while checking out a call at a camp for migrant workers. Dodge County authorities said 2 suspects were arrested at mid-morning in Missouri, and the State Patrol assisted in their apprehension. The suspects fled in Lang's car, which was abandoned near Blooming Prairie. The time of the shooting was about 2:30 this morning. The victim again, Greg Lang, Claremont Chief of Police. Soviet officials are asking the United States for help in locating 312 Soviet soldiers listed as missing in action in Afghanistan. Soviet officials believe several dozen deserters fled to the United States and Canada from Afghanistan during its occupation by Soviet forces. There are new threats against the lives of U.S. hostages held in Lebanon. A caller claiming to represent the Islamic Jihad said the group will execute one of 2 American hostages in retaliation for the downing of Iran Air Flight 655, in which 290 people died. David Martin reports from the Pentagon.
This is a burden I will carry for the rest of my life. That from a message Captain Will Rogers, commanding officer of the Vincennes, sent to the Pentagon after he realized he had accidentally shot down an Iranian airliner. While Iran recovered the dead, a team of investigators went to the Persian Gulf to review tape recordings of the data collected by the state-of-the-art radar aboard the Vincennes, which somehow failed to detect the difference between a jumbo jet airliner and a jet fighter. Contrary to popular belief, experts say the bigger plane would not necessarily look bigger on a radar scope.
Look at it at, say, some 100 miles away. From a radar's point of view, it's not going to discriminate about the length of the wing or whatever. It isn't clever enough to do that. So it's going to look the same.
Normally, a commercial airliner shows up on a radar scope with a signal which identifies it by flight number, altitude, and speed. Sources tell CBS News the Iran Airbus was sending out 2 signals, one identifying it as a civilian aircraft, a second saying it was a military plane. U.S. officials say the airliner was heading directly for the Vincennes, flying outside the normal air traffic corridor, traveling at high speed, and not responding to radio calls. Rogers was granted permission to fire when the plane was still 20 miles away, but he held his fire until the aircraft was just 9 miles away. He checked for scheduled flights in the area, but apparently not closely enough because Flight 655 is plainly listed. Rogers concluded his message to the Pentagon by saying, "I and I alone am responsible for any actions taken by Vincennes." David Martin, CBS News, the Pentagon.
It's business as usual in the Persian Gulf today for American warships after President Reagan said the shooting down of the Iranian plane, though a tragedy, would not prompt a pullout of American ships from the Gulf. Alan Pizzi reports on the situation there today.
The U.S. Navy was on station in the Gulf War Zone today. The John Hancock was prowling the shipping lanes. The threat of reprisal for the shooting down of the Iranian airliner hangs as heavy as the blanket of humidity here. Iran's Ayatollah Khomeini has called for an all-out war against America to avenge the downing of the airliner. The Iranians have threatened to drench the skies in blood to get their own back. An easy option is Beirut, where Americans are held hostage. But the Lebanese Shiite Muslim leadership said yesterday that the hostages would not be harmed in reprisal. Relatives of the passengers on the doomed airliner were still in mourning today. The Shiites mourned for 3 days, purifying themselves with rose water, sipping tea, and reading from the Quran, the Muslim Bible. Some of these men lost more than a dozen members of their family in the attack. Along with the mourning, there was the ritual chanting of "Death to America." The mourners acknowledged that it was primarily for the television camera. Said one man, "We know this is a way to tell the world how we feel." Alan Pizzi, CBS News, in the Gulf.
The party in power in Mexico for 60 years says it's confident tomorrow's election will be carried out with full respect for the law. But as David Dow reports, the unexpected murders, 2 of them, are clouding this election campaign.
The rhetoric of tomorrow's Mexican election suddenly rings with words like assassin, aimed at the government by followers of opposition presidential candidate Cuauhtemoc Cárdenas. Buried inside most Mexico City newspapers yesterday were reports that a top Cárdenas campaign aide, Francisco Obando, and his secretary had been shot to death, their bodies found in a car on this Mexico City street. Cardenas pressed top government officials to bring the killer to justice, insisting the murders were political. Cardenas said he didn't know who killed the two aides, but blamed reactionary elements. A newspaper later quoted police as seeking a third man who may have been traveling with the victims. Cardenas broke away from the government's ruling pre-party to wage a surprisingly strong campaign on behalf of a center-left coalition. A conservative candidate, Manuel Cloutier, has also been drawing big crowds. The pre-candidate, Carlos Salinas de Gortari, is expected to win, but by the narrowest margin ever. Meanwhile, mourners have arrived by the busload in the city of Morelia, hometown of victim Francisco Ovando. Today, a big crowd is expected for his funeral, while Mexicans sort out this election week mystery. David Dow, CBS News, Mexico City.
Solidarity Union leaders plan to make the outlawed union's presence known when Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev visits the Polish city of Krakow next week. One official of the banned labor union said, "We are not planning to form a welcoming committee." Boating accidents claimed the lives of at least 2 people in our area over the 4th of July weekend. An 18-year-old woman from Jackson, Crystal Benson, drowned Sunday afternoon after falling from a boat on Clear Lake west of Jackson. Ms. Benson's body was recovered from the lake yesterday afternoon. And searchers continue dragging Hall Lake at Fairmont for the body of a man who fell from a boat about 8 o'clock last night. The name of that apparent drowning victim has not been released. 10 people died in motor vehicle mishaps in Iowa over the weekend. The latest reported victims are a Minnesota woman and her 3-year-old daughter killed in a head-on crash in Bremer County, Iowa, yesterday afternoon. The victims were 25-year-old Joan Williams of Champlin and her infant daughter, Amanda. Nationwide, at least 370 people died in traffic accidents over the 72-hour holiday period. Mankato's Public Safety Department responded to numerous complaints of fireworks violations and made 30 arrests for illegal possession of fireworks, twice as many as a year ago. Violators are reminded that this is a misdemeanor subject to a fine of up to $700 and up to 90 days in jail. Quite a fireworks display at Mankato State University's Blakesley Field last night, where the annual Bend of the River Day celebration officially got underway with the crowning of Carol Adamson as Queen of the Bend of the River festivities.
Well, this is really kind of fun. As I just mentioned to someone, it's about 35 years too late for the Miss America pageant, and I'm a foot too short anyway, so this is fantastic.
Tomorrow, the Bend of the River Festival stamp cancellation sale will be held from 10 to 4 at the Madison East Mall, and at 7:30 tomorrow night, BMX, or bicycle motocross races, will be held at Rasmussen Park off Stoltzman Road. Everybody likes a birthday party. In Des Moines recently, there was a big special party for a special recipient, as Jeff Greenwood explained.
Everything you'd expect for your average birthday party was there. Friends, cake, ice cream, and of course presents. But this was no average birthday party. The birthday girl was Sadie. That's her all right. She's 10 years old today, and her mom invited 20 of her closest four-legged friends. What do you have to say for your birthday?
Well, I think she's quite shocked. I've talked about it all week, and she knew I was buying and shopping. But I think she thought I was kidding. And so I think she's quite happy, actually. I think she feels loved. And she's entitled to this.
Sadie did quite well for her 10th birthday. Mint-flavored dog biscuits, books, lollipops, and the guests got something too, doggy bags. Sadie's friends thought the pooch party was great. So did their parents.
Heck of a deal. Everybody should have one.
Better than a lot of them been to for people.
Happy birthday, Sadie. In Des Moines, Iowa, Jeff Greenwood for CBS News.
Rally pressures are trying to break through on Wall Street today. Midday readings show the Dow up less than 2 points in light trade of 80 million shares, with advances pulling ahead of declines by 130 issues. The latest from Cape Kennedy and sports when we return.
At Shopko's Optical Center, our eye doctors test for visual acuity, depth perception, color blindness. You know, a routine eye exam here is hardly routine. The Optical Center at Shopko, where a good buy means good care.
Glaucoma is sneaky. You can't tell it's happening until it's too late to save the vision you've already lost. That's why screenings for glaucoma are part of every exam at Shopko's Optical Center. Good care and a goodbye.
Hi, Ross from Shepherd Motors in Fairmont. I know that you can buy a new Buick, Pontiac, or Oldsmobile almost anywhere. But do any of those dealers offer a price like I do? $50 over invoice? No, they don't. Do any of those dealers offer to show you the invoice? Never. At Shepherd Motors, we've built our business on fair, honest deals and super fast service when you need it. Come see us and find out why all these customers have bought their new cars from us. Shepherd Motors in Fairmont, where your friends and neighbors buy.
Space Agency ground crew members are back at work at a Cape Kennedy launch pad for the first time in a year and a half. They're getting the Discovery space shuttle ready for a flight in September. Discovery's undergone hundreds of modifications since a rocket booster failure destroyed the Challenger January 28, 1986. A final test for modifications is scheduled in about 3 weeks. Yesterday was Visitors' Day at Cape Kennedy, and as Ed Trotsky reports, there was a big turnout.
America's space program soared on this Independence Day. Near-record crowds came to see what no one has seen in nearly 2.5 years, a space shuttle on the launch pad.
Of course, the shuttle being on the pad and all the television coverage and so forth, we've got quite a crowd here today.
Spaceport Tours has every one of its 34 buses rolling today.
We shall be together for a period of approximately 1 hour and 50 minutes, give or take a few hours.
It's estimated some 9,000 people will ride these tour buses today. Some waited in line as long as 3 hours to get on the tour. In return for the long wait in line, visitors were driven to within a mile of the shuttle Discovery.
Something I've always wanted to see. I hope the shuttle flights continue. It was really interesting, yes. I was very impressed with it.
More than 16,000 NASA workers and family members were given special clearance today to drive past the shuttle.
It's going to be great. We're back on track.
Oh, this is fantastic. It's about time I got off the ground again.
This up-close look at Discovery created a 10-mile-long traffic jam, lasting more than 5 hours. At the Kennedy Space Center, Ed Trotsky for CBS News.
For the second time in 3 games, Kent Herbeck hit a pair of home runs and Brian Harper hit one to give the Twins a 3-1 victory over the Brewers yesterday, as Minnesota took 3 of 4 games in that weekend series in Milwaukee. But they're still 6 back of division-leading Oakland as the A's beat Cleveland in 16 innings yesterday, 4-2. The Twins are back home until next week's All-Star break. They open a 3-game series with Boston at the Dome tonight. Fred Tolliver, who's 0-1, will pitch for the Twins, while Wes Gardner, who's 2-1, is slated to start for the Red Sox. The usual dour-faced Stefan Edberg was all smiles after winning the Wimbledon Men's Tennis Championship yesterday in a rain-delayed match against 2-time champion Boris Becker. Jim Lampley has some highlights in his Sports Roundup.
1 year ago, Stefan Edberg watched the men's final at Wimbledon from the sidelines after losing to Ivan Lendl in the semis. Yesterday, the tables turned for Edberg as he became the first Swede to capture the title since Bjorn Borg in 1980, defeating Boris Becker in the rain-plagued final. It was Edberg's first Wimbledon final, and he made it a memorable one. After dropping the first set, Edberg bounced back as his serve and volley game overshadowed that of the West German. Edberg's brilliant play seemed to drain Becker's spirit, and by the 4th set, the Swede looked unbeatable. Finally, 22 hours, 38 minutes after the first point was played, Becker volleyed into the net, and the match and the title belonged to Stefan Edberg.
It's just hard to believe that I really won it, and it was a fantastic feeling. I mean, I could not believe that he missed that last point, but that made the match, and I mean, I don't think it has sunk into my system yet.
In baseball, all systems were go for the Cubs' Greg Maddux yesterday. He pitched a 4-hitter against the Giants for his Major League leading 14th victory, his 8th straight win. And for the 2nd straight day, Oakland's Mark McGwire blasted a game-winning home run in the 16th inning, this time to power the A's past Cleveland. But the play of the day was in Kansas City, where the Royals celebrated the 4th of July with defensive fireworks. They executed the first triple play against the Boston Red Sox in 23 years. But Roger Clemens pitched the Sox to victory anyway, 9-2 over KC. NBA veteran Moses Malone may soon trade in his Bullet uniform to move to Atlanta. The Hawks offered Malone, now a free agent, a 3-year contract worth about $6 million. Malone said at the end of the season he'd prefer to stay in Washington, but only with a raise and a longer contract. Eddie Murphy isn't the only one coming to America these days. Yesterday, the 9th World Cup soccer tournament was awarded to the United States, this country beating out Brazil and Morocco for that sport's most prestigious event. The United States, with a weak national team, has played in only 3 World Cups and none since 1950, but as the host will automatically qualify for the 24-nation tournament.
And that's news and sports this noontime. Mr. Food comes along next.
What's the best way to control in-crop weeds, regardless of height?
Roundup herbicide in your riding sprayer.
What's the best way to control many different kinds of weeds, safely?
Roundup in your riding sprayer.
What's the best way to kill weeds in one pass?
Roundup in your riding sprayer.
What's the best way to keep weed control costs down?
Roundup in your riding sprayer. Control in-crop weeds for about $3 an acre.
Hi, I'm Barb Lamson, Membership and Programs Coordinator for the Blue Earth County Historical Society. I'd like to take this opportunity to invite you to join us for our 2nd annual tour of historic homes, Saturday, July 9th from 1 to 5 p.m. This year's tour will feature 5 private homes as well as a furniture restoration clinic. Tickets are $5 for Blue Earth County Historical Society members and $6 for non-members. For more information, contact us at the Historical Society.
It's time to name a cheese of the month, and with right now starting the big vacation time of the year, we're going to be traveling a little or a lot someplace where we'll find local cheeses, also called farmstead. They're local cheeses that are the signature of each region, like very sharp, crumbly cheddar in Vermont. Well, it's tongue-tingling sharp. But there's also Vermont brie and camembert and farmer's cheese. Now, certainly there's goat cheese. In Vermont or here, every place in the country has local goat cheese. And goat cheese really tells all of the local cheese stories, because it's not factory made. It's usually made from milk that isn't any more than 24 hours old. It's fresh, it's cared for, it's babied and pampered. Now that sort of guarantees the quality. Many times, it's a local guy making and selling it at a stand. We here in the Midwest have more than our share. We can find them easy. Even our supermarkets carry some of them. There's all kinds of cheddars and grating cheeses and mozzarellas and Monterey Jacks and Colby's and Cole Jack, and there's varieties we never even heard of before. They can all be an exciting new taste experience. Maybe as a lunch alongside a backcountry road. Nice way to smell the flowers. So, in your traveling these months, if you want to really taste the area, look for some of their pride, their local cheese. What a way to say, ooh, it's so good.
When your Performance Pro boats on Dunlop Performance radials, you share something with the world's most demanding race car drivers. Your tires are one with the road. Now you understand why performance is our passion.
Mankato Oil Company, where quality service and products are their only means of doing business. Mankato Oil, serving this area since 1919.
Your drinking water might look like this if you could see the contamination in it. Now you can have cleaner, better tasting water at your tap without buying bottled water. A Lindsay drinking water system can effectively remove sodium, nitrates, lead, bacteria, arsenic, up to 99% of many contaminants that could be in your water. Your family can enjoy Lindsay quality drinking water made from your tap water for only pennies a gallon.
Serving your Lindsay water needs in Jackson, Fairmont, and Blue Earth is Jim Hill Ag Industrial in Fairmont.
Taking a look at those Tuesday markets, beginning with South St. Paul, where slaughter steers and heifers are moderately active, 50 cents to $1 lower today. Slaughter steers, choice grades 2 through 4, 1,050 to 1,300 pounders are at $64.50 to $66, and slaughter heifers, choice grades 2 through 4, 950 to 1,150 pounders are at $60 $3.50 to $65. Barrels and gilts are slow in trade, $1 lower today. U.S. grades 1 through 3, 210 to 250 pounders are at $44.50, and sows uneven in trade today, 50 cents lower to $3 higher. U.S. grades 1 through 3, 300 to 650 pounders are at $28.50 to $32.50, and slaughter lambs, spring choice and prime, 95 to 125 pounders are $54 to $56. John Morrell and Company in Esterville, Iowa has butchers trending 50 cents lower. Number 1's at $45, number 2's at $44.50, and sows are also 50 cents lower at $29. Minneapolis wheat futures are lower at midday today. July wheat at $4.15.5, offered down 9.5. September $2.47, down 10.5. December $4.34.5, down 10.5. And March $4.36, offered down 10.5. In May $4.40, offered down 7. Grain and soybeans are mostly lower at midday in the Chicago Board of Trade. July corn at $3.36, down 6. September corn at $6.42.5, down 5.25. In December $3.50, down 5.5. Soybeans, the Chicago Board of Trade, July soybeans at $9.54, down 34.5. August at $9.61.5, down 30. September $9.63, down 30. In November $9.55, down 30. Mankato Cash Grains has corn at $2.79, soybeans at $8.84. Pick prices, Minneapolis pick corns at $2.90. Portland Northwest pick corn is at $3.64, and pick soybeans are at $9.32. Soil temperature is at 78 degrees. We're going to take a break and come back and look at that steamy forecast for this week.
How about you? Do you feel like you're running around in circles looking for a new garage door or opener? Well, there's no need to, because at Allied Overhead Door, we have a complete line of residential and commercial garage doors and openers. So stop carting around.
Race on over to Allied Overhead Door, and you'll be the winner.
Well, if we don't see those record-breaking temperatures today, we'll for sure see them tomorrow in the upper Midwest. In Iowa, a high of 100 degrees for today and a low of 72 for tonight. Northern Minnesota, 30% chance of showers continuing this afternoon into tonight and tomorrow. Now that's north of the line from Alexandria north. High of 97 and a low of 70 degrees. Now our part of the state, record-breaking temperatures possible for today, 100 degrees, and the old record is in 1977, which is 99 degrees, so we'll get close to a record-breaking temperature. Sunny skies and south winds at 15 to 25. Then for tonight, the winds will be calming around 10 to 20 miles per hour with clear skies continuing, temperatures 72 to 77 degrees. Then we look ahead to the extended forecast where we say tomorrow, clear skies, but things clouding up on Thursday. And by Friday afternoon into Saturday morning, a good chance of showers in this part of the country, as well as those temperatures cooling off after we see a possible 102 degrees on Thursday. So if you want to be outdoors, this is not going to be a good week. Probably towards the end of the week will be a little bit better.
Boy, I hope for a weekend of continual rain.
We have the parade on Sunday.
Oh, you're right. Well,
I suppose you'll stay home if it rains. The rest of us will have to
so
be
I'll bring
there.
my umbrella.
Okay.
The Dow Industrials, as of 1 o'clock, have made quite a jump in the last hour, up 12.80 for the Dow as of 1 Eastern Time. Thanks for joining us for noontime.
By the way, that's the Bend of the River Day Parade on Sunday, and we'll all be there. We'll see you tomorrow.